All right, everybody, welcome to today's class. Today's class is the lease class. In this class, I will be teaching you all or guiding you all on how to speak to clients or what to say to clients. Also, what it is we need from clients whenever we're doing a rental, how to prepare the offer, how to find properties, how to send the offer to your clients for electronic signature, how to receive documents and upload to Form Simplicity to get your client's signature, and how to send everything to the other agent, contact the other agent, even do showings, right? So the whole process of lease is going to be explained here. Okay, if you guys have any questions while I'm talking, please feel free to put them in the chat. I may not get to it right away, but as soon as I finish whatever I'm speaking about at the moment, I'll take a look at the chat. And if there's any questions there, I will answer whatever questions are yours, okay? Or hold them till the end. Usually at the end of the class, I'll stick around for about 10, 15 minutes to answer any questions that you guys may have or I may not have covered that you're interested in knowing, okay? All right, so first off, whenever we speak to a client for rental, there are some things that we need to make sure that we get from our client in order to be able to send an offer, right? So this is our rental checklist. If you guys need it, feel free to put your email address on the chat and I will send it to your emails once this class is over, okay? And basically, what it is just a checklist of things that we will need from our clients, okay? Most rentals nowadays are asking for 3 months upfront. Those 3 months are usually split up as first month, last month, and security deposit, okay? They could also be split up as first month and 2 security deposits. It all depends on what the listing agent and the owner have agreed upon on their listing agreement to see how they're going to collect those 3 months. Okay, so it's important to advise our clients that most of our rentals or most of the rentals in the market right now require 3 months up front. We want to ask our clients when we're speaking to them for the first time if they have that. Okay, why? Because we want to see what route we're going to take when we're showing properties to these clients or what would be their best option. Okay, so you don't necessarily need to ask them up front, hey, do you have 3 months? But one of my questions to the clients is, you know, are you aware that at the moment, most rentals are requiring 3 months up front? Usually when I say that, they will tell me if they have the 3 months or if they don't have the 3 months. You know, if they don't have the 3 months, they'll be like, oh, wow, you know, I don't have 3 months. I can only do 2 months. But then at that point, I already know where I'm going to go with this client, right? If it's only 2 months that they have, there's 2 things that I need to think about. I'm going to have to negotiate that 3rd month whenever we do the offer, or I'm going to take this client to community rentals, which community rentals only require a security deposit and the first month, or a prorated first month and a security deposit. And it's really based on their credit score. So it's not 3 months in total. They may be a little bit more expensive on the monthly side, but they don't have to give 3 months upfront if it's a community rental. Okay, so it's an important question to ask your clients or find out if they have, okay? The other thing we're gonna need when presenting an offer is a credit check. Okay, now credit check isn't necessarily just a picture of the credit score from Credit Karma. The credit check is actually the full credit report from any of the credit bureaus. Okay, it could be from TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian. Okay, any of those 3 can print out, you can print out a credit report from them. It will cost the client money if they go to any one of those websites, but if they need to know where to find it, they can go to any of the 3 credit bureaus, or you can do it from Credit Karma. Now, Credit Karma is good because it's free. It doesn't pick up on, I think it doesn't pick up on Experian. I think it's just TransUnion and Equifax. But it will print out a full credit report. Now, there are some agents that do not want to take any credit reports from Credit Karma. It's just because Credit Karma is, the way they explain it is that Credit Karma is like the Zillow of credit companies, right? You can go in there and you can find out what you need to find out, but not everything is updated the way it should be, right? So that's kind of how they see Credit Karma. Some agents will accept it, other agents won't accept it. But Credit Karma is pretty widely used. So if you want to tell your clients about Credit Karma, that's fine. It's free. They can print out a full credit report there, but that is what's needed, is a full credit report, okay? Background check. Now, this has been changing now since this whole pandemic, but the background check can be obtained at a police station. Recently, I tried to go to a police station in the hammocks that I used to go to regularly to get background checks, and it would only take 15, 20 minutes, and I would leave with the background check. Well, now they're making appointments for background checks. And yesterday, I went to do one for a family member of mine that needs to rent, and they told me they're doing it only by appointment, and August 6th. So they're taking now 2 to 3 weeks to do appointments for background checks in police stations. So it could be difficult to go into a police station and get a background check. If any of you know any that are quicker, please let us know. But it's pretty much what's happening right now. I do have a website that I also use for background checks. The problem with the website is it's good for the offer, but as far as associations are concerned, most associations want to see the Miami-Dade background checks. So that's where there becomes a little bit of an issue. But the one I use is on criminalwatchdog.com. It costs $18. I'm going to put it on the chat right now. It costs $18. It's a national background check. Okay. It costs $18. It's a national background check. The client can do it. The background comes in within about 20 to 30 minutes. They get it in their email. It's instant. But then they'll be able to share that with you, and you can use that for the offer purposes. Okay. So you have that other option. Okay. The other option that I use is, it's a program called mysmartmove.com. And that is through TransUnion. And basically the way it works is you as an agent go to mysmartmove.com and you create an account. It's free for us to create an account. And then that account, what it does is it allows you to set up applications. These applications you can go ahead and send to your clients, and your clients can pay online for the system to run a background check, a credit report, and an evictions report. Costs $40 for the tenant to do it. It's a pretty good program. I like to use it, especially now that there's problems with the background checks and some people don't know how to get the credit scores. But that one is called mysmartmove.com. I'll also put that on the chat so you guys have it's a very good website, and it helps us in getting the documentation that we need from our clients. Okay, so $40 for the client to do it. If we want to do it for the client, we can. It costs us $25. So be it as it may, if keep in mind you guys have your own business. If you guys want to run it for your clients, you can. If you guys want to offer this as a service, you absolutely can. It's a business service. So if we, it charges us $25, we want to charge, $30 or $35 for us to run the background check, we can do that. There's nothing wrong in earning a little bit of profit for providing a service to our clients, right? So the other option is the office can run the reports and run the credit for your client. Credit, background, also eviction check, and the office charges $50. There's an application on formsimplicity.com, and that application your client would have to fill out and sign, and we would send it to Janelle or bring it to the office with a money order made out to Real Estate Empire Group for $50 per transaction or per person, and then we can go ahead and run those reports for them. It takes about, I don't know, 24 hours to get those reports back, but that is the other option. So the office can do it. You can do just background check at criminalwatchdog.com, or you can do full background, and you can do credit score and eviction check at mysmartmove.com. Okay, so those are the options that you guys have if that's anything that interests you. Sorry, guys. Perfect. You're also going to need income verification from your client. Okay, income verification can be various items. They can be if they are working and they are receiving paychecks. It can be the last 2 or 3 paychecks that they've received from their job. Okay. There are a lot of things happening with income. I've seen clients sending me checks from April, checks from March, but they failed to send me the ones from June and July. You know, there's a lot of things happening with work right now. Some people have been furloughed. Some people have been laid off. So they're trying to, to sneak around with getting away with checks from April or March or, even May. Please be sure they are the most recent pay stubs that your client can send you. If your client does not work in a place where they pay them with a check, and he says or she says that they get paid cash, only cash, okay, we'll ask them if they deposit their money in the accounts. If they say they do, they deposit their money in the accounts, even if it's not all of it, but they do deposit some, okay, then I need a copy of your last 2 bank statements showing those deposits, so that way we can see the income that is flowing into the account. If they say I don't really deposit all the money in there, just some of it, that's fine. Copy of what they have in their accounts, and we also need a letter from their current employer stating how long they've worked there and how much money they make monthly or how much they get paid monthly, in order for us to have some sort of proof that they are currently working right now. That letter must be or should be on a company letterhead and have the manager's name and phone number there to be able to verify. Okay, so these are all forms of income verification. Okay, there's also students that you may have to help, and some students receive student loans that loan is allowing them for housing. Get a copy of that loan statement. Get a copy that shows how much is being deposited into their account or how much is going towards what's it called, housing, right? And that way you still have proof of income, right? You could also have a client who receives money from overseas. Well, that money needs to come in, through a bank, or there's got to be statements showing that incoming money, right? Please make sure that you have that in order for proof of income. Okay, we cannot do an offer without proof of income. You also need copies of IDs. Is fine as long as it's a state or government ID with a picture on it and it's valid. Okay, it cannot be an expired passport, an expired license. It needs to be valid passport, valid license. If they're not from the United States and their passport expired, but they have what they call a cédula, which is like a license in their country, and it's valid, that's fine. We can use one of those, okay? But we do need to have valid IDs for the adults that will be staying in the property, okay? And a rental application we need to fill out, okay? The rental application, we have one here. This is what our rental application looks like. You can also find it in Form Simplicity under packages. But just so you're aware, it's basically general information on the applicant. Okay, we have locations, put the applicant's name. It says spouse's name, but you know, that could be a co-applicant as well. Their information, birth date, marital status, social security, their present address, phone number. I mean, you'll notice it's just general information on our client. Okay, it's gonna also ask other occupants that are gonna be there living. Tenancy history, where they currently live right now. If they have the phone number and email to their tenants, right? I'm sorry, to their landlord. Have they ever been evicted? Have they ever been arrested? Do they have any conviction currently on them? Employment history, who is their employer? Who is their co-applicant's employer or spouse's employer? Personal references, that could be family or friends, right? And an emergency contact. Do they have any pets? If so, what kind of pet? Pounds, right? It's just general information for us. We need to know who we're working with, right? So important to, one of the good things that I like to do in the beginning is once I speak to the clients, I like to send them this after I get their email and tell them, please fill this out for me because we need this in order to send the offer along with the documentation that you need to provide. So I usually send this right away to my client by email so they can start filling it out, okay? And those are the documents that we need from our client in order to send in an offer, okay? Do you guys have any questions on any of the documents right now that we need or the rental application that should be filled out by our client? Isn't the association supposed to pay for all that from the money they application? That's what some clients have asked me. Yes, absolutely. The association will do that for the client, but the association does not share that information with the owner. So whenever you make an offer, the offer needs to be accepted first by the owner. So once the owner accepts, then you can go into the association with the owner's acceptance, and then the association will run their own background check for their purposes, but they never give that information to the owner. So, which is, if it were the case that we could go through the association, then everybody would just apply for the same property in that association. We have to apply first with the owner. We have to offer the owner first and get their acceptance before you can go into the association to apply to rent that property from the owner. So yes, your clients are absolutely correct, but that is not something that is shared with the owner, and we need to get the owner's approval first before we get the association's approval.
Gracias, eso responde mi pregunta.
Okay, great. So, continuing on, as soon as we speak to the clients, my conversation with the clients, and if you guys want, I have a script that I use that I give to a lot of agents that they can follow. It's in English and in Spanish. It's just a small script, just kind of gives you a heads up on you know, what you should be saying to the client. I can email that to you as well. But in that conversation, I listen to what it is that they need, right? They're going to tell me, I'm looking for an apartment, or I'm looking for a house, or I'm looking for, you know, what be it in this area. I can only pay X amount of money a month. I needed to make sure that it allows pets. It needs to have a washer and dryer, right? They're going to give you all the information that they need on their property. And we should be writing all this information down to make sure that when we're searching, we can do what the client asks. Give me 1 second, guys. You need help? Hola. Ay, Dunia, ¿cómo está? La máscara, ¿no te veo? No ha llegado todavía. No ha llegado. Pero lo pueden hacer en mi oficina si quieren. Sí, sí. Ok, disculpa. So yeah, I can send that to you guys so you guys have more or less something to say. I don't want you guys to follow it word for word, but I think it's a good way of you guys at least knowing what to say to the customer, right? So in that conversation, I make sure that I listen to everything that they need, right? Everything they want. And after they tell me, I go ahead and announce it back to them. Hey, listen, so this is what I got from you. You need this and this and this and this. Did I get that correctly? Yes. Once they tell me, okay, yes, I got that correctly, great. Have you, now I go into what it is I need, okay? Have you rented before? Yeah, so I'm currently renting now. Great. We know maybe we can ask them for a landlord letter. Or no, I haven't rented. Whatever it is that they tell me, I tell them, okay, great. So then you are aware if they've rented, or are you aware that there are 3 months that need to be paid upfront on any rental? That's how I'm going to find out if they have those 3 months or not, right? In addition to having those 3 months, we also are going to need credit check, background check, income verification, copy of IDs, and a rental application, which I can send to you by email to fill out. No, are you okay with this? And usually they'll say, yeah, that's perfect. I can get all that. Or, you know, I'm going to need some time to get that. Okay, that's fine. I personally do not like to show properties unless I have documentation from the client. Why? Because I'm not going to ask them for money, but I am going to ask them for those documents because I need to be prepared for my client once they tell me they are ready to put in an offer. We cannot send any offer to any agent or to any community, well, community rentals, yeah, but to any agent, we cannot send any offer without having any of this documentation, okay? They will always ask for this documentation. So you need to advise your clients and, you know, let them know, hey, we can, you know, if you want me to show you properties, that's fine, but I'm doing a disservice to you by going to show you this property and not being prepared for you. Because the second you tell me that you like the property, I should be getting the property offer ready and you signing it in order for me to send the offer right away. So we don't lose any time and we are, you know, making sure that we're grabbing this opportunity quickly. If I'm showing you the property and you still haven't sent me any documents, by the time I'm done showing you the property and receiving the documents from you, which could take 1 or 2 days, there could be 2, 3, maybe even 7 agents that have seen this property after us. And they were already prepared and they already sent in the offer, and then we lost our opportunity. So that is what I tell the clients. Does it work all the time? It doesn't work all the time. Does it work for me? It works for me because that's the way I want to do business, right? Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. I'm just giving you that tip to try and get something from the clients, because the more we have from the clients, we're able to then at least ensure ourselves that this client isn't going to leave us, right? Once a client has something invested with us, it makes it harder for them to leave, okay? If they don't have anything with us, they can just go to any other agent and then we lose our client, okay? So that is just a tip that I'm giving you, but I prefer you guys knowing the bat, okay? You guys can do it however you feel more comfortable, and that's perfectly fine. If it's working for you, I'm happy that it is. Okay, so let's get off of here and let me take you to Matrix. Okay, so this is Matrix, okay? Whenever we're gonna search for a rental, we're gonna come to this rental homepage, okay? Your Matrix, when you first log in, is gonna look like this, okay? If you wanna search for a rental, you're gonna put your cursor where it says search, and you're gonna come down here to where it says RENT, RES rental, okay? That means rent or residential rental, okay? Some of you may find clients that are interested in doing a commercial rental. You won't find it on this tab. If you're looking for commercial rentals, you need to go to COM Improved Commercial, okay? When you clicked on COM Improved Commercial, you will see right underneath the status area, a transaction type box. And here you can click if you want commercial lease or commercial sale. Okay, so commercial rentals, that's where you're gonna find commercial rentals, okay? That was just quickly there so you guys are aware. But we mostly work, or we're mostly gonna be working with residential rentals. So with residential rentals, you're gonna go search residential rentals, and then this is the site that you're gonna see. This is the page you're gonna see, okay? The system is incredibly precise on whatever information you put on this system. I'm sorry, on this webpage, right? So if let's say a client tells you, oh, I'm looking for a property that's $1,400 or less, okay? If in price you put $1,400, the system will only find properties that are worth $1,400, okay? If I go to results right now, you'll see that my list is only showing $1,400, the entire list, okay? So if you're looking for $1,400 or less, you need to place the minus sign after the 1,400, and now it's gonna find you properties up to 1,400, okay? If you wanna do a range of properties, let's say you don't wanna see properties that are worth $1,200, right? You wanna see something between 1,300 and 1,500. You can do the range, 1,300 through 1,500. Oops. Okay, so that range will now only show properties between 1,300 and 1,500. Okay, so that is how you put in price, right? When it comes to bedrooms, baths, same thing. If you only put 2 bedrooms, it's only going to show you properties with 2 bedrooms. But if you're looking for 2 or more, you're going to put the plus sign. And now it'll show you properties that have 2 or more properties or 2 or more bathrooms. Okay, if you pull baths, if you put 2, it's only going to show you properties that have 2. But if you put the addition, it's going to show you properties that have 2, 2.5, 3, so on and so forth, right? You don't need to put half bath. Just this here in full baths is gonna give you half baths as well, okay? And just to give you an idea, I'll click on results, and you'll see that, you know, here it says 2, here it says 2 half baths too. So it does give you half baths as well, okay? Where are we going? Okay, garage spaces. You're gonna find some clients are very interested in wanting 2 parking spots. Okay, Miami-Dade has a problem with parking. We do not like giving more than 1 parking spot. So when a client tells you that they're looking for 2 parking spaces, you could definitely try searching through here. But here's the problem with the parking spaces search field. When you do a listing, parking spaces is not a necessary option to fill in. It's optional. The listing agent does not need to put how many parking spaces the property has. So if I put 2 parking spaces here, you'll notice that my field has said I have 0 matches because either the client or the agent didn't put how many parking spaces, or there's just none that have 2 parking spaces. It's because the agent never put anything, right? Sometimes they get confused and they put it on garage spaces. So when I put 2 garage spaces, it's gonna say there's 36 properties that have 2 garage spaces. Those could be parking spaces. I very much doubt that it's 2 garages, right? It might be 1 garage with a 1-car garage, but you know, 2 cars can park because 1 can park inside the garage and 1 can park on the driveway. So sometimes they get confused. So the parking is more of an option that as we're searching through the properties that we're looking for our clients, we need to read the listing to see what the listing actually shows. If it doesn't say anything about parking, then we need to contact the agent to find out how many parking spaces are in that property, right? So it does require us to go a little bit in depth when we're doing a search for our clients. You know, it's not just search what they want, get a list, send them the email. No, it's search and then make sure that we are reading the listings for those properties to send them what they're asking for, okay? You can also search here by county. If they're looking for Broward County, you can click on Broward County and it'll just show you properties in Broward County. If you click on Miami-Dade, it'll show you just properties in Miami-Dade. And here are some other counties here, okay? You can also search for type of property. Type of property, if the client tells you I'm looking only for a house, you can come down here and click on where it says single. There's only one match for a single property that has 2 bedrooms, 2 baths between 1,300 and 1,500. Let's take a look at it. This is the property. It's in 113th Avenue and 190th Street. It's $1,500. It says it's a single family, but I can tell right now it's not. That is a duplex. Not a duplex, I'm sorry, like a small villa. Not bad, right? $1,500, small villa. Here you go. And you can send them that. That's what they're looking for. So if they're looking for anything, you don't have to select single family. Just this is showing you all the properties that are available that are 2 or more bathrooms, 2 or more bedrooms between $1,300 and $1,500 in Miami-Dade County. Okay. If you want a specific city, you can search through the city field if you want to. You can also search through the zip code field if you want to. I personally do not like to do that because we're really focusing on what the listing agent has placed that property on. Okay. What I mean is whenever you do a listing, the system will automatically pick up a pinpoint of where that property is strictly by the numerical address. It's not going to look by zip code and it's not going to look for city. If you put 15940 Southwest 92nd Avenue, or 94th Avenue, which is the address to the Palmetto Bay office, it's going to pinpoint based on that. It's not going to pinpoint on whether it's on Palmetto Bay or whether it's in Miami or whether it's in South Dade, right? It's just going to pick up on the address. So putting Miami here is extremely broad, right? So if you notice, I picked Miami-Dade and it tells me there's 172 matches. But once I put the word Miami in it, it drops it to 90. What happened to those other 82 properties? Are they not in Miami? They should be in Miami because I located Miami-Dade County. But it could be that those properties, the agents listed it as Kendall, Florida, as Coral Gables, Florida, as, I don't know, give me another one, Country Walk, Florida, South Miami, right? So that is why I don't like to search for city, because I lose out on some properties that possibly could work for my client, okay? Zip code, same thing. Off the top of my head, the example I like to give is I used to live on 33183. Okay, that was in the Kendall area. Okay, and now I am in 33182, and that is the Sweetwater area. So by one number, I have essentially traveled over 20 miles. So if you make a mistake on the zip code, you could be in a whole different area searching for your client, right? Not only that, the client may tell you, hey, I'm interested in 33182, but 33194 is only 4 blocks away from 33182. Why wouldn't the client want to move there? I mean, it's only 4 blocks, right? Now there could be schooling issues or, you know, things like that where they need to be in a specific zip code, and that's fine. You can do that, and you can find zip codes by going to Google, and in Google, just putting Miami-Dade zip codes. Right, and you're gonna be able to see images of maps of Miami-Dade, and it'll show you all the zip codes. And then you can just, the closer you get to the map, you'll be able to see the, what's it called? The avenues and streets and everything. And that way you can pinpoint in what area your client wants based on avenues and streets, and you'll know what zip code that is to search for, okay? But again, I don't like searching through the zip codes, so it's up to you though. If you want to, that's perfectly fine, okay? Now, there's also going to be other fields that your client may be interested in that may not be in this initial search page, okay? Those additional fields you'll find on the bottom of the page. It'll say additional fields, and it'll have a blue button that says add on it, okay? If you click that button, it's going to take you to this website, or I'm sorry, this page of the system, where it's going to allow you to add any of the fields on the left to the box that's on the right, okay? I have these set up already for me because this is based on most of what I speak to with my clients. These are the things they mostly ask me for. So if you guys want, take a screenshot of these things that I have here. Whenever you have time, you could start adding it to this box here, and it'll show up on all your rental searches from here on out. Okay? Some of the things, just to give you an idea, pets allowed. Some people have pets. They need to tell you if they have pets or not, right? They'll forget to tell you they have pets. They'll tell you, oh my God, I'm looking for this and this and this. Once you search those things, you send it to them, and then they'll be like, oh, do any of these allow pets? And now you just wasted your time searching for properties that don't allow pets. So please make sure when you're speaking to them, you ask them if they have any pets. Very important. So that way you're showing them properties that make sense, right? Minimum lease period. Some people only want to rent for 7 months or 8 months or 6 months. Not very many short-term rentals available in the MLS. Okay, short-term has been taken over by Airbnb. Verbo is, I think, another one. Like, those are all short-term rental websites. If anybody wants to rent for 1 month or 2 months, my recommendation is to send them to those websites, because the MLS, we won't find very many of those, okay? If the property is furnished, if they want furniture in the property, if they don't, HOPA is Housing for Older Persons Act. That it means clients that are over the age of 55 or 62, okay? How many stories? Some clients may tell you, I need something in the first floor, right? You can put how many stories there, and it'll tell you, it'll find you some properties that may be in the first floor. Broker remarks. The reason I have broker remarks and remarks here, I'm going to show you now, but there are times where a client may ask you for something and there is no way to search it. One thing that comes to example is Section 8. Section 8 is a program that Miami-Dade has that will give help for rentals for clients. But we cannot search Section 8 in the MLS because it is discriminatory to put no Section 8 allowed. So by using these broker remarks and remarks, we'll be able to find some properties that have already been approved by Section 8, and hopefully they're within the area that your client needs them in, right? If not, you'd have to search whatever area your client wants and contact each agent one by one to find out if they accept Section 8 tenants, okay? Approval information. Approval information is a good one for if you're searching for places that do not have associations. Okay, if they don't have associations, usually the approval information will say no approval necessary, or rapid approval, or other approvals. And there's a chance that any one of those approval informations may be that they don't have an association, right? Compensation to buyer's agents, that's our commission, right? So if you only want to search rentals that offer 5%, you can put that there and it'll only show you properties that are 5% commission. If you only want to show properties that are half month, you can put that there and you can find properties that only pay half month. Rent includes, sometimes clients are saying, hey, I want to rent a property, but I need it to include water. So if you have that option, you can click on water, and if the agent has in fact put in the listing that water is included, it will show up all the property. It'll show all the properties that include water. Okay, again, but these are all additional fields that are not specific to the listing. meaning it's an option for the agent to put it in or not. But if they did put it in, then you will be able to see it if you choose it, okay? And move-in dollars, right? Some people may tell you, I only have $3,000 to move in, right? You can put $3,000 in move-in dollars, and it'll show you all the properties that are available that only cost $3,000 to move in to the property, okay? Once you're done adding them over here to this side, you can click back. And now, every time you come to this rental search page, you'll have in additional fields, a list of additional things you can search for, okay? So here, I'm gonna show you very quickly how to look for, I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna show you how to look for Section 8. So if you go here to broker remarks, okay? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry, I got a message I need to answer. Yeah. Okay, sorry, guys. So broker remarks, you're gonna put asterisk and then write the word Section 8 and asterisk again, right? Now it's gonna show you how many properties have the word Section 8 in their broker remarks. So let's take a look at these 3 that are here, right? And if we look at the listing and we go to where it says broker remarks, it says landlord will consider qualified Section 8 applicants. So it's not saying it doesn't accept, and it's not saying it will accept. It's saying it considers it. It will consider it if they are good. They have all their other documentation, which all the other documentation we went about before, right? Credit report, income, background check, all those things need to be accepted or shown when you send the offer in, including the voucher for Section 8. Okay, let's take another look at another one of the 3. And down here it says Section 8 welcome, right? So they have accepted Section 8 before, and they are willing to accept Section 8 here, right? So notice here in this broker remarks, this might be helpful. All applicants may send rental application, ID, proof of income, and background check. And it says, if you don't have it, tenant agrees to pay $20 to HRE for a background check. So if your client doesn't want to send you documentation and this is the property they want, hey, if you're willing to spend $20, they will do the background check and everything for you to give to the owner. But you still have to pay the association $100 for them to do their background check, right? But you know, some brokers are able to do that for less money. I gave you the options that, you know, I have for that as well. And then here is another one says, we do accept Section 8. Perfect. So, you know, you can go to any one of these 3s if this is the area that your client is looking for and do a Section 8 for these clients. Okay. I think I saw a question here. One moment. What can we tell them so that they won't keep looking online for other rentals? Most of the time, fake rentals. So unfortunately, we live in a society now where everything is at our fingertips, right? We can search online, we can search on our phones for properties. Every client is going to do that, and there's nothing we can do to stop them. But what we can do is show them how we are the professionals and how we understand the market better than they do, right? My comment to my clients is, listen, I have worked in this business for over 8 years. I understand the market. I have rented my fair share of properties. I know how to negotiate in order for you to get the best price and I'm aware of how quickly these properties get rented. So I don't want to put you in a position where you don't get the property you want. If you listen to me and you do what I ask for you to do, we can get this done together. But I need your help in order to make sure that it gets done. If they want to go search for properties online, hey, go for it. But send me the property once you find it, because I can locate that property quicker. If you contact those places, they're going to send your information to third parties, and you're going to get a bunch of people contacting you. Let me work for you. Let me get it done for you. And if those properties that you see online are not available, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to find your property in that area that is available, because a lot of those properties are only there to capture your information and send your information out to third parties. Tell them the truth. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Are they going to still go search? Yes. Are they still going to put their information in to probably do it? Yes. We can't stop them. We can't force them not to do it. But if you are doing a good job for the client and the client notices that you are working hard for them, I guarantee you they're not going to go over your back to search for other properties. Okay. You have to sell yourself to the client. Why are you the best realtor for them? Right? So real estate isn't selling properties. Real estate is selling yourself and selling your client to the other agent. The property sells itself. The second you send that list to that list of properties to your client's looking at those properties, and they're gonna find one that they love, or two that they love. And the second you open that door, it's like a test drive on a car. They're gonna go in, they're gonna look at it, they're gonna say, I see myself living here, and they're gonna say, this is the one I want. You don't even have to say a word. All you need to do is open the door. Right? So the important thing is selling yourself, putting yourself above everybody else. There's 46,000 plus agents in Miami-Dade. What separates you from the other one, right? So what separates me is, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to be straight with you. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you like it is. And I'm confident that I know how to do my job well, you know? So if you want to go with somebody else and risk the chance that, you know, they're not going to know what they're doing, that's fine. I know what I'm doing. I've been in this business for over 8 years. I know exactly how this market works. I know exactly what to tell the other agent to make you be in the front of the line for the property. But I need your help. I need you to show me the documentation that I need in order to be able to get that information, right? So, I mean, that's the best advice I can give you. Okay, so we were talking about the broker remarks. So that's how you're gonna find things that you need from listings that you may not be able to search for, such as Section 8. Here's another little tip for you guys. You guys have been searching for a client for a really long time, and they're still with you, and you are tired of working for this client, and you feel like what you're doing deserves a little bit of more money, right? Put the word bonus in that broker remarks where it says, put asterisk, bonus, asterisk, right? And it's going to give you some matches of some properties that are giving out bonuses. So this one, for example, is saying $150 bonus to realtor at full price, right? So if your client is looking for something at $1,500 and you find this for them and they love it and you offer the $1,425, guess what? You're gonna get $150 bonus for this property, for renting this property. Right? Here's another one in Miami Gardens. This one is saying $100 bonus for a rental agent. It doesn't even say that you need to you need to do a full price. It just says rental agent gets $100 bonus. So just a little tip, little extra there for you guys to learn about the listing there, okay? All right, so going back to the search page, we've gone over what type of property, we've gone over putting the specifics on the price range, city, zip code, I've gone over that. and additional fields. I've gone over that, right? Now, how do we search specific area? Okay, the way I like to search the specific area is through the map, okay? The map for me is my friend, okay? It is the most precise way to find a property that you're looking for, okay? As I mentioned before, hold on, let me take off the criteria here of the bonus. As I mentioned before, the client say only I want will be Hialeah to the east. Okay, that's fine. So let's go with that example, right? The client says he wants to be on the east side of Hialeah, right? Yeah, that's perfect. So we've already put what we're looking for, okay? Two or more bedrooms, 2 or more baths, $1,300 to $1,500. We can even take off Miami-Dade, okay? We're not gonna put a specific property. We're just gonna keep it so that it shows us all the properties that are available and active, okay? And then we're gonna go to the map, all right? So this person only wants the east side of Hialeah, right? So here we are, we're in Hialeah, right? If they give you specific streets and avenues, the closer you get to the actual map, you're gonna actually see the avenues and the streets. East 41, Palm Avenue, West 32nd. I mean, you'll be able to even see different types of locations on the map, right? If they want to be by the racetrack, here's the racetrack. You can click there and then it'll show you, you know, areas around there. So the closer you get, the better. So east side of Hialeah, there's really not much. I mean, maybe there's this one right here. But if you want Hialeah, you're gonna click on this box and you can now put everything around here that's east side of Hialeah. Okay? So there's 2. I'm gonna give them 2, right? There's this one, Hialeah, and then there's this one, which is like the Miami Springs area. That might be a little bit too far west, but you can show them these properties and tell them this is what there is close to that area. You know, if you were looking for more options, you need to give them or tell them the honest truth. Hey, listen, unless we raise the price or we change the area you're looking for, these are the only available options right now. Okay? So be straight with them. Like I said, be confident. It's okay to tell them this is not available. What you're looking for does not exist. It's okay. Because, you know, you can show them, hey, this is the criteria you want, and this is what there is. If this isn't what you're looking for, we need to increase the price or we need to expand the search area to find other properties that may fit what you're looking for, okay? So this map, I love to use it because it gives me precisely what the client is looking for. If the client tells me, hey, I need to live at least 8 miles away, 8 is a lot, at least 4 miles away from the airport, okay? If I get close to the map, I'll see Miami International Airport right here. Then I can click this circle, put it right in Miami International Airport, okay? And expand, and you'll notice that it tells me how many miles I'm expanding. Okay, so let's say 5 miles away, okay? So I have done 5 miles away, and now I have all these properties within 5 miles, of the airport that I can send to the client. There are 16 in total, okay? If let's say he also wants Kendall, he says, you know, my kids, they go to Sunset Senior High. I have 2 kids that go there. I want to live close to that school too if I can't live, you know, close to the airport. Okay, no problem. Now I can grab this square and I can, let me take this off for a second and get close to Sunset Senior High. And I know Sunset Senior High is on 132nd Avenue and Sunset, right? So here's Sunset. Here is 132nd Avenue. Here's Sunset. Here's the school. I mean, you can tell it is because the closer I get to it, now you're seeing a school, you're seeing, you know, the track, you're seeing the baseball field, the football field. So I know this is Sunset. Now I can grab here, I can put this circle on Sunset, and let's go, I don't know, 2 miles. Let's go up to 2 miles. What's up, man? Te están esperando ahí atrás. Yep. All right, so I'm extending. Yeah. Hold on, this. Okay. So now I've gone out. Now I can zoom out of my map. And now from the point of Sunset, 2 miles out, I'm showing these properties and I'm showing 5 miles out from the airport. So now I have these 2 searches for my client and I have a list. And this list shows me those 2 searches that I specifically did. Okay, now I know that when I send this list to the client, they're gonna be able to see everything that they looked for, right? Okay, any questions on how to search for things on the website and how to use the map? No? No questions? Okay, cool. All right, moving forward. Let me show you guys, once you search what you did and you look for results, you're gonna see a list of properties, okay? This list you can change from 10, 25, 50 properties, right? To show it all in one page, okay? This is the list of the properties that are available. Do I want to send 43 properties to my client? No. One, for 2 reasons. One, I'm gonna overload them with properties, and by the time they see their 20th property on this list, they're gonna say, I'm done. I don't wanna look at it anymore. And they're gonna stop looking at it, right? Or they're gonna look at every single property and then they're gonna tell you, I wanna see them all, right? We don't have time to see 43 properties in one day, okay? The most that you can see in one day, and if you can see more than this, please let me know, at least 4 or 5. I mean, that's the most we can see in one day. Why? Because of the traveling issue, okay? We have to drive to all these places. So if you're showing them all in the same building, then yeah, you can show 6, 7 properties in the same building. Not a big deal. You're not traveling anywhere. But if you have to drive to 3, 4 different places to show these properties, every time you drive, it's about 20, 25 minutes to get there. Let's say 15 minutes. And on top of that, another 15 to 25 minutes showing the property. You're looking at about half an hour to 45 minutes per property. So if you're showing 5, you're going on about 2.5 hours of showing with this client, right? It's a long time. And this is probably not the only client you're going to be working with. You're probably going to be working with 3, 4, or 5 clients. So what I mean by that is make sure you guys are, I don't know how to say it, like you're working efficiently. Thank you. You're setting up your times and you're making sure to strategize your day on your clients. Okay, you can't just focus one entire day on one client. You will be receiving additional phone calls. You will be having to talk to people. You will be having to, you know, get information from other clients, speak to agents. I mean, your day is going to be consumed by real estate. So you cannot just be on one client for the entire day. Okay, so my recommendation, send them a list of about 15 properties, okay? If they like 7 properties and they tell you, hey, these are the ones I like, these are the 7 I like, and that's great. But give me your top 3 or give me your top 4 properties that you want to see, right? So that you can start looking by those top properties first, okay? I guarantee you that if they give you 5 properties, you're most likely only going to get or be able to see 3 of them, because some properties either already got a contract on it and it hasn't been updated, or there's tenants living in the property and they cannot allow you to see the property at a time that you want to see it, because they're only showing properties on the weekends, showing properties after 5 o'clock and until 7. And, you know, there's different reasons why you won't be able to see a property. But if you get 4 or 5 properties, you can show the top 3 properties to this client. You did a great job, okay? And the other ones you can leave for the following day if you want to, you know, and say, hey, I'm going to check on these for the following day to see if we can see these tomorrow if you don't like any of these. But yeah, 15, 20 properties, okay to send to your client. More than that, it's going to overwhelm them, okay? Or you're going to put yourself in a position where you're going to have to show them as many properties as possible, right? So here we got 43 properties, okay? I know that this is based on the criteria the client wants. The client, I'm sure, would like to see all of these. How do I select which ones I want to see? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is check here where it says per year after the price and make sure it says month or year, okay? If it says month or year, that means that they are monthly rents, right? That it's for 1 year and they have to pay every month, okay? If it says week on it, that means they're weekly rentals. So don't send them the ones that say the word week on it, okay? You don't see that here in any of these, so that's fine. I can send any of these. So what I'll do is I'll kind of just check them all, right? And then I know that it's checked 43. I know it's checked 43. Let's change this to 20. Let's change this to 25, okay? So it's checked. Okay, oops. Okay, it checked 18 on the second page. You know what? Let's go with those 18. Boom, I'll send them those 18. I have these check marks, and then I'll come here to email. And then the email will allow me to write the client's email here, and then the subject line, you know, available rental properties. Okay. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. blah, 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 right? And then just write them whatever you want. Here are some properties that I found within the area you're looking for. Please let me know if any of these interest you. I can also send you, you know, in other areas if you're interested in, if these don't help you, right? Or if these don't work for you. Send it, and then you send them a message saying, hey, Mr. and Mr. Client, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I've sent you a list of properties. Please let me know if you received it, okay? Guys, the most important thing when speaking to a client is consistency in speaking to them, is follow-up. Make sure you are following up with this client. One phone call, one message, one text message is not going to work. You need to be constantly contacting these clients to make sure that they are speaking to you, that there is communication. If there's no communication, there's no business. Okay? So make sure that you are following up with these clients as much as possible. Call the client. Once you speak to the client, send the client a text message. It was a pleasure speaking to you. I'll be sending you some properties shortly. In the meantime, please start collecting the documentation we spoke about, right? Once you do your, you send them the property, you send them another message. Hey, Mr. and Mrs., you know, just wanted to advise you, I sent you an email with some properties based on the criteria you asked me for. I wanted to remind you of the documentation you needed for rents. Here are the documents that are needed, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Please let me know if you received the email. If they do not answer you, call them. Hey, I sent you the email. I don't care how annoying I'm getting to the clients. It doesn't bother me. What bothers me is not hearing from the clients, is me working and not getting feedback from the clients. That's what bothers me. So let me know if you want me to continue, or let me know if you want, if you don't want me to continue, right? So I follow up with them until I get a response. And then once I get a response, I'll know if they want to continue working with me or if they don't want to continue working with me, right? So follow up, very important, guys, okay? Once you're done with writing the email, you send it, you follow up with them, right? And then they'll tell you, you know what? I didn't really like any of the ones you sent me, but, you know, do you have any others that you could send me? Sure. Well, we know we did these 18, right? In the second page. We can always go back to recent searches here, right? And we'll show the recent search that we did. And if we click on it, it'll take us to that recent search. We know that we did the first page or the second page of it that we sent them. Now, you know what? Let's send them the first page. There's 25. Let's take off 5 of them, right? Let's keep these. These are fine. Let's take off one of them for 4,000. Let's take off another one for 450, one for 1,500. All right, another one for 1,500, and let's just pick this one too, right? I did it randomly, guys. Why did I do it randomly, right? I'm not looking at the listing, okay? The reason I'm not looking at the listing is because if I look at the listing, right, it's gonna force me to look at these pictures, right? The first thing that pops up is that picture, right? So I'm gonna wanna see the picture. And what I'm gonna say is, you know what? I'm not too thrilled about it. I don't like the bathroom. I'm not too thrilled about this. You know, it has washer and dryer. That's cool. I don't like the setup. I'm not gonna send it to the client. Your view or the way you feel about a property is not the same way that the client feels about the property, right? You might be liking something more modern, right? And you say, well, this isn't modern enough for me, so I'm not going to show it to the client. But the client isn't necessarily looking for modern. Maybe they're looking for bigger. Maybe they're looking for closer to their children's school. Maybe they're looking for closer to their family, closer to their work. Maybe it's, I mean, there's a bunch of reasons that a client could be moving, right? There could be negative reasons a client's moving. Client got a divorce and wants to be as far away as possible from their spouse or from their ex-spouse, right? And if you just focus yourself on looks alone, you're gonna miss opportunities that the client may want, okay? So that's why I don't look at the listings, okay? Once my client tells me that they like a specific listing that I sent them, now I'm gonna be more focused on that specific listing. Okay, sure. Now, if I want to see the pictures, I can see the pictures. But now I'm going to focus on the information of that property. Okay, and the listing of the property is going to give you all the information you need up front. Okay, there are some listings that will not give you all the information that you're looking for, but it's possible that it will give you some of the information, right? So let's start off with what a listing looks like, okay? This is the listing for this property, 15231 Southwest 80th Street, 605 is the address. This is the MLS number, okay? This is the price that they're asking for, asking price. This is the name of the community that it's in, Kendall Lake Towers. How many bedrooms, how many baths, okay? What year it was built? Important, because if it's built prior to 1978, that means we got to do lead-based paint disclosures, right? If not, we don't have to do that. So that's why that's important. It's going to tell you here the recent changes this property has had. Okay, this is a new listing, which means that it's relative, at least a week or two old in the system. Okay, if it had any changes, meaning it had lowered price or it increased in price, it'll say here, price increase, price decrease. If it changed to, if it has a contract, it'll say here, active with contract. So depending on what the status changes, it'll show you here. It'll also tell you if it's furnished or unfurnished, okay? This location information is just really, most important thing is this folio number here. Okay, that's where you're going to find the owner of the property, okay? I'm gonna keep this open just to show you, but if you click that link, it's gonna take you to the IMAP portion, and it'll show you here who the current owner is of the property, okay? So that way you know when we put the offer in, who we have to place in the owner, okay? What type of property is it? It's an apartment. Does it have a pool? Yes, it has community pool. How many parking spaces? It says it has 1 space, okay? No RV, no boats, no trailers, no lake, not waterfront. The remarks from the broker, or, you know, great location. Is it really? Spacious unit, ready to move in, close to shopping centers, has a washer and dryer in the unit. Great, my client is looking for a washer and dryer in the unit, perfect, right? Then we're going here to additional information. What additional information is it? Well, what appliances? There's dishwashers, there's a dryer, there's a microwave, electric range, refrigerator, smoke detection, right? That's in there. There's key card to the building. That means it's a fenced complex, okay? So we know that because if we want to go show the property, we know we have to get into a gate, a community. How do we get in? Got to keep that in thoughts, okay? What's the minimum lease period? 365, 1 year, no less than a year. Application fee to the association is $100, okay? 1 to 2 week approval. That's important for us to know, because if the client, if today is July 9th and the client tells you, hey, I need to move in by July 15th, can we apply for this one? Most likely not, because it could take up to 2 weeks, which means probably the end of the month, right? So we're gonna have to search for places that have rapid approvals or less than a week of approval, okay? It'll tell you rent deposit includes, what it includes: first month's rent, last month's rent, security deposit, right? That's how much you have to put in. Notice how they didn't put move-in costs, right? But we know the move-in cost is gonna be 3 times this amount plus whatever, however many applications there are for the association, right? Central cooling has central AC. And then down here it has the agent office information. Who is the agent? This is the name of the agent. This is the company she works for, the broker she works for. Here's the agent's phone number. Here's the agent's email, their license number, okay? The office number to where they work, okay? Buyer compensation, this is how much commission we receive. Half month of the first month. So if it's $13.50, we get $6.75 commission, okay? DOM, that means days on market. How many days has this property been on market? Is this important? Absolutely, it's important. Why? Because this tells us how long this property has been in the market. If the property's been on the market for 100 days, we have a better opportunity to negotiate price, right? We have a better opportunity to negotiate different things because, hey, my client wants to rent it and we have the money for it, but we're looking for, you know, this and this. If it's been on the market for a short period of time, might be a little bit more difficult to negotiate. Doesn't mean it can't be, just means that it's gonna take a little bit more work to be able to do it, okay? This will also tell you if there's occupancy in the property. Here it says call listing agent. Is there a tenant? There might be. They may be moving out. We don't know when they're moving out. If it's vacant, it's gonna say here vacant, which means we can go in, you know, whatever time we want. So how do we show this property? So kind of like, I really like it. I really want to see this property. How do we show it? Very simple. In the actual listing, on the bottom of the page, you will see this long blue line. And right here, you'll be able to click where it says showing time. Okay, let me, you have to make sure that there's no other property checked off. Okay, so let's make sure nothing is checked. And now I'm gonna go here to click on where it says showing time. When I click showing time, going to take me to this webpage, right? And it's going to show me the address of the property. It's going to show my information. And now I'm going to click where it says schedule a single showing, okay? Here in appointment type, it's going to tell you what type of appointment you're going to need. If there's a lockbox or a Supra, it's going to say Supra lockbox, no appointment necessary. What does that mean? As long as you have the Supra key, you can go and show the property whenever you want. Supra key is important, guys. You need to make sure that you purchase a Supra key at the Realtors Association if you do not have one, okay? I know that they're closed right now, but you can call them on the phone and let them know that you need to purchase a Supra key. They will give you the information of how to do it online and how to activate it, okay? You can still get one. They'll ship it to you. You may be able to go to the office just to pick it up. Not our office, but the association realtor office. But they will be able to tell you. If you don't have it, I strongly recommend you get it. A lot of properties are under Supra, and if you do not have a Supra key, you won't be able to show that property, okay? The cost for it is $30, and it's a one-time fee if it's just the Bluetooth Supra that you're getting, which connects directly to your phone. Or there's another one that does actually have a key fob, and that one is $80. For purposes of Supra lockboxes that are older and don't have Bluetooth connectivity, you need to have the little key fob, and that costs $80. I purchased the key fob because I want to make sure that if I end up with a Supra that's an older box, I still have the ability to go in, okay? I have a question here. Give me 1 second. How can we save the search? The search automatically saves itself. When you go to, when you go here on this top area where it says rent, you're going to see rent searches. And it's going to show you the rents that you've done, the past 50 that you've done. It'll tell you the date and the time that you did it. So if you know you did one on, you know, Wednesday, let's say, and it was for properties that were, let's see, residential rental within Weston, let's say, right? You can click on this one and it'll show you the search that you did on that day for those properties, right? You're also gonna know when your client tells you, hey, from the list you sent me, I liked number 7 or number 10 or this address. You can go to where it says My Matrix, sent email, and then it's going to show you here the email that you sent to that client, and you'll be able to that specific email, and now you'll be able to see the properties that you sent them. So that way, if they tell you, oh, I like number 7, you can just go to number 7 and you'll already know which one the client's talking about, right? Okay, so let me go back to where we were. Okay. So here's the showing time. It says I need an appointment, right? Perfect. So then I'm going to click here on schedule a single showing. Oh, sorry. Schedule a single showing. Now it's going to give me a calendar, and it's going to tell me, ask me to choose a time and a date that I want to go see it. Whatever's in black are the days and times I cannot go see it. Whatever's in white, I can see it at any time, and that day I just need approval first. So let's say my client says, oh, I need to go after 6 o'clock, and I can go tomorrow after 6. Perfect. Let's say 6:30. Tomorrow is Friday. We go to 6:30. We check off that box, and then it gives me this confirmation. You want to go see this property tomorrow at 6:30. Is that correct? Yes. And then I click request appointment, and then it'll send an email to the agent and a text message to the agent letting them know that I am requesting to see this property at this time. They should get back to you roughly within about 20, 30 minutes to give you confirmation and how you're going to see the property, okay? They may text you and tell you, hey, you are confirmed. There's a lockbox on the property. This is the code for the lockbox. and now you know the code for the lockbox. They may call you and tell you, hey, I have a tenant living there. The tenant is aware that you're going to go at that time. Please make sure that you're on time. If you're going to be late or you're not going to be able to make it, please let me know so that I can advise the tenant not to wait for you, right? My recommendation is if you're showing 3 or 4 properties, and out of the 3 or 4 properties, or let's say out of 3 properties you're showing, 2 of them have lockbox and 1 of them has a tenant, go to the one with the tenant first, okay? So that you don't end up being late because you were showing the ones with the lockbox and you had an appointment at 6:30 and the one you were showing with the lockbox went to 6:45 and now you're late for the one that has the tenant. Go to the ones that have the tenants first, see those first, and then go to the ones with the lockboxes. Because the lockboxes, you can go at whatever time, even though you set up an appointment to go at 6:30, because the agent has told you, hey, there's a lockbox there. If you show up at 6:45, not a big deal. The lockbox isn't gonna stop you from going in, okay? You can go in with the code, all right? Any questions on how to request a showing for a property? Okay, if you do not have this option of showing time to be able to select the date and time you wanna go, your other option is to call the listing agent. Their information is here on the bottom of the listing. So call the listing agent or send them a text message. Hi, my name's Albert. I'm calling from Real Estate Empire Group. I have a client interested in seeing your property located at 15231 Southwest 80th Street. We'd like to see it tomorrow at 6:30. Can you tell me showing instructions, right? And they may reply to you saying, please send me your license number, brokerage, and the time and date you want to go see it. It's fine to share your license number, guys. They're talking about your real estate license, not your driver's license. It's okay to share your real estate license number. The only thing they can do on it is search to see if it's an active or non-active real estate license. They cannot do anything to hurt your license just because you gave them their number, okay? The reason they're asking for your license is because they want to search to make sure that you are an active agent and that the phone number you're calling them from is the active phone number that you have registered with the association. That way they can verify, okay, this is actually the right person, right? So call them if they don't have the showing time request, ask them for information, okay? If an agent does not get back to you, the agents are just like clients, okay? You need to follow up with the clients. Don't expect that in a perfect world, one message is gonna get it done. If you send them a message and they do not reply to you within half an hour, give them a call. Leave them a voicemail. If they still don't reply, send them another message. Leave them a voicemail. Continue to do that until you get a message. I had an agent who called me on Monday and told me, hey, I've been trying to show this property. I tried to show it over the weekend. I can't get a hold of the agent. The agent's office line, which is here for their brokerage, seems busy. They may be closed. I don't know what's going on. I can't get a hold. My client really likes this property. I need to show it. She was freaking out, right? Well, not really freaking out, but she really wanted to show this property. So she asked me, what else can I do? I've already called the office. I've already sent an email. I've already sent text messages. I've left voicemails. I don't know what else to do. Usually I would say, let's, just move on. If they're not getting back to you, it's for a reason, right? It's either because the property's under contract already and they have no reason to get back to you, right? They just don't care enough to be able to get back to you, right? But I was curious to find out, okay, you know what? I'm going to call. I called, no answer, left them a voicemail, sent them a text message, called the office, and then I went to this Keys company office code, key E09. I searched it up here, and it gave me the name of the broker, the owner of that company. And now I texted the broker and I emailed the broker that, hey, I'm trying to show this property. It's of one of your agents. I have not received a response from this client. or from this agent. My client really wants to see this property. Please have your agent contact me or give me the information on how to show it. They didn't get to me right away, but on Tuesday morning at 6:30 in the morning, I had an email from the agent saying, hey, I'm sorry I couldn't get back to you in time, but that property has already been rented. Although I have these other properties in the building as well, if you're interested in seeing them, they're under lockbox, and they gave me the information of both properties' lockbox numbers. So they didn't get a hold of the agent, but once I got a hold of the broker, now the broker called that agent and said, hey, what's going on? I have this person sending emails. I have proof that they're sending you emails and you're not getting back to them. What's going on? Well, now the agent got back to me. So there's always a way to get the information. It's just a matter of how persistent are you going to be to get it for your client, okay? So again, if showing time is not available, contact the agent by the phone number. You have their email address and you have their office information as well, okay? Once they get back to you with how to see the property, whether it's there's a lockbox code or the tenant's gonna open the door for you, make sure you schedule everything for your client at the time that they wanna see it, at the time you requested, and look at a map. Place yourself in an order, right? If you know that you're gonna go see, for example, let's go to the map here. This is what I do, guys, so it's up to you. But let's say, okay, I live right here, right? This is where I live. I live here in Sweetwater, okay? My client wants to see this property over here by Coral Gables, and then they want to see this property over here in Sunset. And then they want to go to Miami Springs. Okay, well, you know what? This is the one that has the tenant. So I'm going to go to this one first. And then from there, I'm going to come over here and show them this one in Sunset. And then from there, I'm going to come all the way back up here to show them this one that's, by the airport. And then once I'm done, I'm just going to go home, right? So it's more convenient for me. It's more efficient for me. So I'm going to do it in that way, right? But let's say this one is the one with the tenant, right? Okay, well then let's go to the tenant first, and then I'm gonna go to this one, and then I'm gonna go to this one. So set it up, what's efficient for you, what's efficient for your client, but make sure that you're making yourself a map or an idea of how you're gonna go see these properties, okay? And give yourself sufficient time to be able to see it. If you're gonna see a property at 6:30, don't make the next showing at 6:45 if it's gonna take you 30 minutes to get there, right? 6:30, 7:15, traffic, right? 7:45, done by 8 o'clock, by 8:30. Okay? So you went, when you go show the property to the client, okay? Try and be at the first property about 10, 15 minutes earlier than your client, if possible, okay? If you're setting up for 6:30, try and get there at 6:15. If the property is vacant, it's empty, open the door, turn on all the lights, open all the windows, stage the property nicely, okay? If there's electricity and there's air conditioning going on, perfect. Have the air conditioning going on. If the air conditioning is off when you get in there, but you turn it on, that's fine. Just make sure you turn it off when you leave, okay? If you're turning on all the lights, make sure you turn off all the lights. I have gotten with plenty of discussions with other agents when they go to my properties and they leave the lights on. That's money that the owner is spending on that electricity and nobody's living there, so the owner obviously is gonna get upset. So just make sure that you turn off the lights and any air conditioning if you are the one turning it on. If you go in and that air conditioning is still on, just leave it on. Don't turn it off. If you go in and lights are on, go ahead and turn off the lights. Not a big deal. But some people will tell you, don't touch the air conditioning, don't do anything, right? But go in early, stage it, make it look nice. In my trunk of my car, I have a small broom and I have Febreze in my car. And whenever I go to a property, if I see it's really, really dirty and I have some time to maybe throw away the cockroaches that are dead on the floor, or, you know, there's a lizard on the floor. If I can open the back door and just sweep it out, I'll do that quickly. And if it smells really bad, I'll Febreze it a little bit so at least it presents itself nicely. Okay. When you do that, the funny thing is that perception is reality. So that first property you see, if you're able to stage it nicely, chances are that's the property that most clients are going to go with. Okay, 90% of the time, that's the one that they want. And it's funny how that works. But obviously, you're only going to be able to do that on the first property. The second property, they're already going to be following you to it. So they're going to be there when you open that door. But at least you can stage one of the properties nicely. Okay. As I mentioned before in the beginning, the property sells itself, guys. If your client is already asking you to see that property, it's because that's the one they like. Just open the door, show them the property, and let them explore it. You know, if they want to turn on the stoves, that's fine. If they want to turn on the water to check everything's working, that's fine. The only thing I recommend you don't turn on is the dishwasher. Quick story. One time I showed a property to a client. All the appliances were new. We were turning on the appliances. I turned on the stove, the dishwasher, and the dishwasher exit valve was not connected. So when I turned it on and it was working, once I turned it off, it started to drain the water that had gone in, and it wasn't connected to the sink, and it just poured water everywhere. So don't do the dishwasher. But yeah, you know, if they want to test equipment and they want to, that's fine. It's up to them. If they want to do it, that's perfectly fine. You're going to do a walkthrough the day of renting the property to make sure everything's in good working condition, but it's okay to do it now. Just make sure that whatever you turn on, you turn off. Okay. After every property that you show them, that you show the clients, have a small conversation with them. What did you think of this property? You know, what are your thoughts on this property? Oh, I like it, or I really didn't like it because of this or that. You need to get their feedback, guys. It's important to have your client's feedback because you want to know, okay, now I know this is not what she likes because she doesn't like countertops that aren't granite. Like she wants a granite countertop, right? Or I know that she doesn't like family dining combination. She wants separate rooms in her property. So these are all things that are going to help you really learn what your client is looking for. Okay. So yeah, after every showing, hey, okay, tell me what you thought about this property. Get their input. Okay. You're also going to want, other agents are also going to send you emails from showing time asking you for information on your showing. You know, how did it go? What did your client like? What did your client not like? That's information we can use as agents to let our clients know, hey, your property is not selling because the walls are dirty, or your property is not selling because the walls are ugly. My recommendation, paint those walls so that we can sell this quicker, right? So just feedback is always important on anything you do, okay? Once you're done showing properties and your client says that they love a property, right? They're gonna tell you, hey, I liked the first one we saw, the second one we saw, I wanna put an offer on this property, okay? The assumption is you already have the documentation for this client, right? And if so, now we can place an offer for this property, all right? So let's talk about how we're gonna put the offer on this property. So this is the property the client likes, all right? What you're going to do is on top of the picture, there's going to be a square that says FS. That is form simplicity, all right? You're going to click on that option and it's gonna take you to this site, okay? Here it's gonna give you the information of the property, okay? Then you're gonna go down here to where it says seller landlord information. And here you're going to put the name of the landlord or the owner of the property. If you recall, I showed you that the listing has the folio number of the property. And when you click that, it takes you to IMAP. And in IMAP, you're going to see the name of the owner. Okay? So all you need to do is just copy this. Okay? And then come down here and paste it. All right? I have a question. Give me 1 second. Let's see what that question is.
We're gonna make money. We're gonna play around.
Yes, Scarlett, you can see this class again. It's being recorded. It'll probably be up by tomorrow on YouTube. Okay, so once you place the seller landlord's name here, renter's name, or I'm sorry, owner's name, then you can come down to where it says buyer tenant information. And here you're going to place the buyer's name, your client's name, right? Or tenant's name, I'm sorry. Okay. If there's 2 names or 3 names, that's fine. You can put as many names as you want because this allows you to put as many characters as possible. Okay, so if there's 2 or 3 names, go ahead and put all the names of the clients here. Okay, tenant's name, tenant's name, tenants. Okay. Separate them by commas if you want, that's fine. Okay. Then you're gonna go all the way down and you're gonna click here to where it says save to a transaction, okay? Once you click that, it's gonna tell you how do you wanna save this transaction, okay? You're gonna click here. If you wanna save it under the address, click this box and it'll automatically put the address. Okay, I like to save it under the address because it's easier for me to find. If you want to save it under the client's name, that's fine. Put client's transaction name, right? Whatever you want to save it is going to be the name of the file, okay? Then you're going to put what type of property it is. It's a residential property. What type of transaction? It's a lease rental, okay? And now you're going to have here the option to save to new transaction, okay? Click that. And now you have officially saved the transaction under client's transaction test. Like that's the way I named it, right? If you ever want to find this transaction again now on your home page, you're going to see the tab and it's called client transaction test. So you know that's the one that you're working on. Just click on it and it'll open up the file for you again. All right. So now you need to do an offer for this property, right? What you're going to do is you need to find the form. How do we find the form? You're going to, yeah, this is a new one. You're going to click here where it says add form. Okay. And when you click it, it's going to open from the blank forms library. Okay. And then here, all you need to search for is lease. Just put the word lease, press enter, and it's going to give you every single form that has the word lease in it. But the one we're going to use is the first one, contract to lease. Okay. You click it and you click add to transaction. So now the file has picked up the form you're going to use. Now you just click on the form and it's going to open up the offer, all right? This is the offer for the property. You'll notice the name of the owner has already been transferred over. The name of your clients has already been transferred over. The address of the property has already been transferred over, all right? Everything else that's in blue is what you need to fill out, all right? So here's how we fill out this property. I suggest to everybody, please read these contracts. Print it out, read it, so you understand what it is you're filling out. All right, I can teach my 3-year-old son how to fill in blanks, okay? But I cannot teach him what a contract legally states, okay? Only you guys can learn what these states and why you are putting in what you're putting in, where you're putting it. I hope that makes sense. Okay, but here we go. Number one, the owner of the property, so-and-so name, and the prospective tenants, so-and-so names of the people who are going to rent, agree to execute a lease agreement by, here you're going to put what date you want a response from the owner. Okay, good time frame, 2 days, right? 2 or 3 days is fine. If today's the 9th, by the 11th, you want a response, okay? And from the landlord, and you want to execute a lease agreement. This is not a lease, okay? Read right here. It says this is not a lease. A lease should be signed before occupancy. This is just an offer, okay? So for the property described below, the lease will include the terms set forth in this offer between paragraphs 3 and 12 and other mutually agreeable terms. We don't know if the owner is going to ask for something else that we are not asking for in this offer. We are only offering what our client wants, okay? Once we send this offer, if it gets accepted, it will be accepted on the mutual agreed terms that the landlord wants as well, okay? So we are asking that the landlord prepare the lease, or the agent of the landlord prepare the lease, okay? Number two, the deposit. This is the escrow deposit. With the intention of entering into a lease, the landlord tenant has paid. This is where you're gonna put the amount that the client wants to offer, okay? You can negotiate the price on this lease. This property is specifically asking for $1,350. Your client tells you, I want to offer $1,300. Okay, no problem, Mr. and Mr. Client. Here, we're gonna put $1,300, okay? And they are paying this money to Real Estate Empire Group, right? Right now, we do not have this money. We have not collected from this client yet. So what I will put is upon lease agreement signing, okay? I will write that there because I am saying they're going to give me $1,300 and I'm going to deposit it in our escrow at Real Estate Empire Group upon lease agreement signing. So when we sign the lease agreement, if there is no lease agreement signing, there is no deposit yet, okay? And then then it's gonna say upon execution of lease by both parties, the parties authorize the deposit holder to transfer the deposit according to landlord's instruction, and landlord will credit the deposit to the money due under paragraph 5 below, okay? So then we go to number 3 saying this is the property address. And in this property address, the property will be furnished or unfurnished. In this case, it's unfurnished, we check off unfurnished. If it's furnished, we check off furnished. If it's furnished and the client does not want it furnished, you check off unfurnished. And if it's unfurnished and your client would like it to be furnished, you check off furnished, right? It's all an offer, right? So you put whatever your client wants. The next line, very important, it always gets skipped over, but it says the property will be used for only residential purposes and occupied by tenant. Notice that tenant is highlighted. That's because it's meaning these people here. You do not have to write these people's names again, okay? And the following people. You will write here the names of the people that will be living in the property that are not in the contract. So, client is married couple and they have 2 kids. The married couple's names are up here. Their 2 kids' names go down here. Or you can just put 2 children, right? So you're going to put on this line whoever else will be living in the property other than the people that are named in the contract, okay? Going to number 4, the lease term. The lease will begin on, again, we need to be specific on the date that we're starting based on what the association says. Okay, I once saw an agent put to be determined, to be determined, to be determined everywhere where there was, what's it called, dates. Not a good idea, guys. We can't put to be determined because that doesn't give us any consistency of when it's going to be done. If your client tells you, hey, I need to move in by July 15th, put July 15th, right? Now, if we know that the association is not going to approve by July 15th because we've spoken to the agent and the agent says, hey, the association is going to take 2 or 3 weeks, then we need to advise our client, hey, you're not going to be able to move by March 15th or by July 15th. Possible by the end of the month? Yes. And if he's okay with that, then we continue. If he's not okay with that, then we need to find some other place that will allow him to move July 15th, okay? But let's say this one's gonna be July 31st, right? Or August 1st, okay? And end on, it's going to be 1 year. 1 year is always 1 day before and 1 year after. So if it starts on August 1st, the last day of the contract will be July 31st of the following year, okay? It starts August 15th, the last day of the contract will be August 14th the following year, okay? Money due before occupancy. This is the 3 months or 2 months or whatever your client's going to give, okay? So here, the first month's rent is going to be $1,300. And that is going to be the escrow deposit that we receive, okay? And when are we going to receive that? Upon lease signing, okay? That's what you put there, okay? Then you're gonna also get the last month's rent, which is $1,300. When are we going to get that? The client is going to pay that on move-in date. Why do we not do a specific date here? Well, there could be an issue with the association, right? Or maybe the association approved quicker, right? We want to move in August 1st, but the association approved July 25th, let's say, right? And once the association approves, we can move in. So your client calls you and says, hey, I got the association approval. If possible, I'd like to start moving my things in before the 1st. Can you speak to the owner? So you call the agent and you say, hey, my client's been approved. He wants to start moving in earlier. Can we either change contract date for July 27th or 26th, or can you let him move in a week early and we can still keep contract August 1st? And the agent will talk to the owner and the owner will decide, sure, he can move in a week early, but he has to pay me for that week. Or he can move in a week early, no problem, I won't charge him for that week, and we just keep the contract as it is, right? Or vice versa. The association maybe does not approve by the 1st, and your client and owner decide we want to continue to wait for approval of the association, and let's say the association approves on August 3rd, right? Well, now they can move in August 3rd or August 4th. That's why we put move-in date here, to make sure that they're aware that the date that they move in is when they're going to give the remainder of the funds, okay? And the other $1,300 is the security deposit. That's also going to be move-in date, okay? So if they accept this offer and we sign a leasing agreement, the only thing your client needs to provide us is $1,300, which is the first month's rent, and we need to put that in escrow. Okay, that means we will bring that check, money order, or cashier's check to the office. It could either be the Doral office or it could be the Palmetto Bay office. You can bring us the check made out to Real Estate Empire Group. We will deposit it in our escrow account and we will give you an escrow letter to show that we are holding the funds for this specific property and for this client, and that we will release those funds once the rental is complete, okay? Upon the agreement that is being signed, okay? There's other things as well here, okay? If there's a pet deposit that needs to be done, you can add the pet deposit here. If it tells you in the listing, we'll know. If it doesn't say it in the listing, ask the agent, hey, they have a pet. Are they asking for a pet deposit? And you could put the pet deposit here. Let's say there is a pet deposit of $200. That is also given move-in date. Okay. There's a security deposit for the association. A lot of times that may happen, guys. I will tell you that it is very common in the Brickell area, in the beach area, in the Coral Gables apartments, like community areas. And it is also very prominent in Doral. Okay, the associations will ask you for an additional deposit. Sometimes the listing will say it. Sometimes the listing will not say it. Okay, there are bumps on the road. Nothing is as simple as you see it. Okay, so if the association, let's say after you get approved, requires a deposit, your client will be the one that needs to pay for that deposit. Now, can you negotiate that with the owner? Absolutely. You can then speak to the owner and say, hey, I was not aware of this association deposit. My client was not aware. This is this is something new that we were not informed of. Let's work this out. My client needs to pay a $500 association deposit. We are willing to pay it as long as you remove those $500 from your owner's deposit. So instead of $1,300 deposit, we're going to give you a deposit of $800. And the other $500 is going to go to the association. Do you agree? They talk to the owner. The owner says, that's fine, I agree. Now you still have the same amount of money. You're just taking it out of the owner's security deposit, Or the owner says, no, I don't agree. You need to pay that own deposit. And then at that point, you can say, all right, well, because you did not inform us of this, and this is something we just learned, we are going to get out of the contract because you did not keep your end of the contract informing us of everything that we needed. Okay, it's okay to do. Happens more frequently than you would know. Okay, but if there is one and you know about it and your client's aware of it, you need to put that here. Okay, $500. And that is at association application. Okay. Upon association application, you can put there. Okay. If none of this is required, you don't need to put it. Okay. Now, let's say your client only has 2 months to move in, right? Like 2 months up front that they can give. And they're willing to negotiate the last month by splitting it up in payments. You can do that. Here where it says last month, you still put the $1,300. And here instead of move-in date, you're gonna place split in however many payments, 3 payments. Split in 3 payments. Okay, so now you're letting them know with the offer, hey, we're gonna give you the $1,300 first month up front once you agree, or once we sign the leasing agreement. We're gonna give you $1,300 upon move-in date for your security deposit, and then the last month's rent, we're gonna give you $1,300, but we're gonna split it in 3 months. Meaning the rent for September, October, and November is going to be, whatever the difference is of 1,300 divided by 3. I want to say it's 1,435, something, or 435 more, right? Which means that September, October, and November, they're going to be paying $1,735 a month. Okay. It could be split in 3, it could be split in 6, it could be split in 12 months, it could be split in 10 months, whatever it is, right? But you're going to include that extra payment every single month to make sure that that is given, okay? Then we go down here to the same area of number 5 where it says the paragraph 2 deposit will be credited as follows, okay? The paragraph 2 deposit is this deposit. How much is in there? $1,300. So you need to place that $1,300 on how, when we disperse that, is the owner going to accept it. That is going to be the first month's rent, okay? And you put $1,300. That's it, okay? Because you're saying that this deposit that we're gonna put in escrow of $1,300, the owner needs to accept it as the first month's rent, because essentially the owner is not going to see this $1,300. That is our commission. So once the rent closes, the $1,300 that is in escrow gets split up into the listing agent's commission and our commission. And therefore, they won't see the $1,300. But you have to let them know, hey, those $1,300, that's our commission, is your first month's rent, okay? That's all you need to place there. You don't need to place it here in last month or here in security deposit, because you already put it here in first, last, and security. So only one $1,300 needs to be placed here, okay? Then it goes to number 6, rent payments, taxes, and charges. The tenant will pay total rent for the lease term of how much will he bring in total for the entire year, okay? So in total for the entire year, 1,300 times 12, that's 15,600. So here you're gonna put 15,600, okay? Tenant will also pay taxes on the rent when applicable, okay? The tenant, if it's a 1-year lease, will most likely not pay taxes on the rent. But if it's a lease that is shorter than 6 months, they will require the tenant to pay the taxes. And if so, they will let you know they need to pay X amount more in taxes. And if they tell you that, that's where you place it. But normally you will not pay taxes, okay? So there you can leave it blank. And then it says tenant will pay the rent, including taxes, whatever's here, as follows. Are they going to pay it in full on August 1st for $15,000? Maybe, right? If not, they're going to pay monthly. You're going to check off month on the first day of the month in the amount of $1,300, right? So now you're explaining that the rent's going to be paid every month on the first day of the month for $1,300. And the total is going to be $15,600. I have a question. Okay, so then it goes to number 7, pets. Are pets prohibited or permitted? If they're permitted, you're gonna check off permitted, and you're gonna put what type of pet it is. Is it a dog? How many pounds? 20 pounds, right? 2 dogs, 1 cat, whatever it is. You're gonna put it here, okay? If they're not permitted, you're gonna click prohibited. Smoking, always prohibited, okay? Never permitted. They smoke, they can smoke outside, okay? But they can never smoke inside of the property, okay? So always prohibited. All right, 9, utilities. So here it says the tenant will pay for all utility services during the lease term, all connection charges, and all deposits for activating utility connections to the property, except for what is already included in the rent. If we go to matrix, or we go to the listing where it says additional or where it says rental information, there is one that says rent pay includes. If there is anything on this line, it will be whatever utilities are included. If water is included and waste is included, it'll say water and waste included. Let me see if I can show you one where you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so this one, see, says rent pay includes pool maintenance, waste, water, sewer, and yard maintenance, right? So at that point in the contract to lease, we're gonna place here what is included already. If your client wants to include something that is not included, you're also going to put it here. So for instance, if let's say your client says, hey, I want to pay the $1,300, but I need it to include water, or I want it to include water. If it doesn't include water, you're going to place water here because you want the owner to pay for the water. This is the offer. Remember, we are giving them what we want, okay? Doesn't mean that they can't come back and say, hey, we're not going to include the water. Take it for $1,300 without water, but we're not including water, you know? And then you can ask your client. If your client says yes, you can continue to move forward. If they say no, forget it, we'll find something else, then you go find another property, okay? Maintenance. The landlord will be responsible for maintenance and repair of the property except for, you can leave this blank if you want. I usually put AC filter change, that my tenant will take care of it. AC filter change. And and any repairs under $100, right? So if there's any repairs that are under $100, my tenant will take care of it. Okay, if it's anything over $100, the owner has to take care of it. And my tenant will take care of AC filter changes each month. And any repairs over $100. So that's what your tenant agrees to maintain and repair. Everything else, the owner needs to take care of, okay? Association approval. Here's where it's important, okay? This is why we need to get the offer accepted first before we go to the association. It says association approval, where applicable, meaning if there's an association, the lease will be contingent upon condominium, cooperative, or homeowners association approval. The tenant will pay a non-refundable application fee of, the listing will say how much it is, right? So let's go back to that first listing. Okay, that listing was ours. Okay, this was the listing, and it says here application fee $100, right? So a non-refundable application fee of $100. Okay, and make application for association approval by, well, we know that our client wants to move in by August 1st. And we know that the association takes 2 weeks, which means we have to have those documents in before July 15th, right? So if we want a response by the 11th, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, we're going to make sure that by July 14th, we're going to have the documents in the association and pay the application fee by that time. Okay? Then it says, if such approval is not obtained, so if the association has not approved by the start of the lease term, which is August 1st, at that point, either party may terminate the lease by written notice to the other at any time before the association approval. Okay? That line means I need to move in by August 1st. It is August 2nd and the association has not approved. I need to say, I no longer want this property, give it to them by email or writing, and I can cancel the contract. Okay? If the association approved on July 29th, you can no longer cancel this contract. Okay? Everything has been done the way it's supposed to be done. Association has approved, owner has approved. If at that point your client says, I can no longer move in because of an emergency, you need to let the agent know, but 100% of the time, the owner is going to ask for the deposit because it's not the owner's fault. At this point, it's the client's fault. We did everything we're supposed to. We got approved. The owner got approved. You don't want to move in now, you owe me your deposit, okay? If the tenant has not been approved by the association and they want to cancel, they need to wait until August 1st. If they cancel before going into the association, they will still lose their deposit. because they're not canceling. They've already signed a lease agreement saying that they're going to do what needs to be done. Okay? The only way a client can cancel is if a lease agreement has not been signed or if the association has not approved before the lease begins. Okay? If the lease isn't terminated, okay, if they say, no, well, we're going to wait for the association to approve, then the rent will abate until the association is approved. Okay, which means if they approve on August 5th, okay, then that means they don't have to pay the first 5 days of the contract. They can give, for the last month, let's say, or, they can subtract, if they want, 5 days from the contract. Or they can use the first month as September and then pay the additional days of August. That's a prorate. So abating it will means take off from the rent. Prorating it means adding more to the rent. Okay. Additional terms. Additional terms is whatever your client wants. Let's say we go into the property and the property is dirty and your client says, hey, with all this going on, I want to make sure that it's professionally cleaned before I move in. You're going to put that here. Tenant requests property be professionally cleaned prior to moving. Okay. You're putting it here, so it needs to be done. If they agree, they got to do it. If you go into the apartment and the apartment is not cleaned after you put it here, your client at that point can say, hey, you didn't do what I asked you to do, I'm out. Chances are it's not going to happen, but you are writing it in contract that you do want it to be cleaned. Okay. If you want it to be painted, put it here. Client would like property to be painted prior to move-in. If you do not write what the client wants, don't expect it to be done. Okay, don't think just because they're renting a new property, they're gonna go into this property with this property cleaned and painted. That's not the way it works. If you don't request it, it's not gonna get done. Okay, and make sure that it is agreed upon on the lease agreement. Okay, that it's placed on the lease agreement that it is going to be completed. Okay. Number 13, background credit reference check. If landlord determines that the tenant's background credit reference check is not acceptable, landlord may terminate this contract prior to signing the lease by refunding the deposit to the tenant. Thereupon, the parties will be released from all obligations under this contract. Meaning, they got to show the documentation. The tenant, the tenant must show these documents in order to get approved. If they do not show these documents, then at that point, the landlord can decide, I'm not going to accept you. Or if the landlord doesn't accept any of the documentation, they can cancel. Okay. Service member status. If the client is a prospective tenant, if the client is an active member of military, you need to provide here or say that they are military. Okay, if they're not, then put that they're not. Okay, this must be checked because any decision that is made by the landlord must be in written format because they are protected. Service members are protected. And if the reason that they are denying them is because they're in the military, that's discrimination, right? So make sure that you advise them if they are military or if they're not military, okay? Number 15, failure to perform. If tenant fails to perform any of the promises of this contract, the deposit paid by the tenant may be retained by or for the account of the landlord as agreed upon liquidated damages. Considering consideration for the execution of this contract and in full settlement of any claims. And that the parties will be released from all obligations under this contract, right? So this is saying that whatever the tenant is saying they're gonna do, they have to do. Whatever the owner is saying they gotta do, they have to do. If either of them decide that they don't wanna do something on this contract, they can terminate the contract. There is a lot of disagreement on this, okay? Because this is just an offer, okay? This is not a lease, right? This isn't a lease. So essentially, if your client doesn't sign a lease agreement, there is no legal agreement on file, okay? But there's been arguments with this here saying that, yes, that this is a actual executed contract, okay? If it's not executed, it doesn't exist. Was yours executed completely? Perfectly? Yeah. Everybody? Owner and they may have an argument. So they'll try to argue that, but truth be told, this is just an offer. This is not an actual concrete. Right. So if landlord fails to perform, we can cancel the contract as well and be released from the liability. Then number 16 says brokers. Here is the brokers. Me, there's my brokerage, and Joanna, and this is the company that they have. Okay, so at the end of that, it says again, here again, it says it. This contract is not a lease. Once the parties enter into a lease, lease provisions that conflict with provisions of this contract will control. This is intended to be a legally binding contract. If not fully understood, seek the advice of an attorney before signing. I read that. So here the tenant needs to sign and the landlord needs to sign, okay? Once it's fully executed, they should be providing you a lease agreement, okay? If they don't provide you a lease agreement, they are not keeping to the contract, okay? So that means we can terminate the contract. That's where you have your, sorry guys, just speaking to another agent. That's where you have your fight. You heard? That's where you have your win. They didn't provide you a lease agreement. They gave you an empty one. And because it's empty, it's not valid. That's where your fight is. So my client wants to pull out. There you go. And they didn't provide it by the time frame expected. All right, sorry guys. So that is the offer, okay? Once you're done filling it out, you're going to save it, okay? So click save. It's gonna say your form has been saved and now you can close, okay? So now you need to send this to your client for them to sign. So how do you do it? You do it through e-sign. You're going to click the contract to lease, and then you're gonna click here where it says e-sign, okay? And then you're going to create new session. Always create new session, okay? It's gonna give it some time for it to set up. Okay, it's gonna probably give you this website, and if it gives you this website, you're gonna click here in the middle one, and it'll take you to the site. All right, this is the first page of e-sign. This is where you electronically sign the documentation for your client. I'm sorry, your client signs the documentation. Sorry guys, but the electrical cord got caught here. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. Okay, so here you're going to put the title of the session. What is the session title? Okay, the title of the session is going to be offer for rent. That's fine. Okay, or rental offer, or your rental offer, whatever you like. Okay, email message, you can put whatever it is you want on the email message. Okay. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Client. Please find the offer for your rental attached. You may sign this electronically. Please feel free to contact me if you need to see how to sign it. Okay. I'm going to show you on eSign here how your client is going to see the email that they receive and how they're going to sign in to sign it. So you're aware of what to tell your clients, how to go step by step. Okay. You're going to select, if it's just one signer, send to one signer at a time. If it's more than one signer, you're going to select send to all signers at once. Okay. So let's say this one has 3 signers. Okay. Then you click next. Okay. Once you click next, it's going to give you this site and you need to add your signers. Okay. So if they're a new signer, you're going to click on add signer. And then here you're going to put their first name, their last name, and their email address. Okay, there's other options here you can use, like for authentication. If you want to set up a password or send them by email the information, you can. I really rarely use this. I don't really use it unless I have a client that is very particular about sending information. Then I can go ahead and create a password for them. But if not, you could just use this normally, okay? Just first name, last name, and email address. Okay. Once you finish putting that, you're going to click the save button. Okay. And then once you click the save button, it's going to show up the name here. Now, I'm not going to add a new signer because I already have myself set up for these classes. So I'm just going to search myself. Once you add a new signer, you will always have that person saved on your address book. So if you ever need to use the system again, for that same person, just go into your address book and you'll be able to find their name. Okay. So let's just say there's 3 people that are going to be signing this document. Okay. 3 tenants. All right. And I'm doing this purposely to show you how to add a 3rd tenant. Okay. So here are the 3 people that are going to sign. Now I'm going to click next. Okay. Now the system is going to pick up on what form it is that I'm signing. Okay. Because this form is coming from Form Simplicity, it understands that the form only has 2 locations for the tenant to sign. That's why it's asking you who's tenant 1 and who's tenant 2, who's landlord 1 and who's landlord 2. It knows the document. So I put 3 people are going to sign, but here I can only allocate 2 people. So I'm going to put my first 2 signers here. Okay. And I'll leave the 3rd one out. And then I press next. Okay. It's going to tell me there's other locations that have not been assigned the signer. Right. Which is like the landlord. I'm not looking for the landlord's signature. I only want the tenant's signature. So I'm going to put yes, that's fine. Now it's going to tell me, okay, based on what you put, this contract to lease has 10 places that need to be signed. Right. But I have 3 people that need to sign. So for the 3rd person that I haven't added, they're going to be up here in this area where it says signer. Okay, I'm going to select the drop down on that and I'm going to pick the 3rd person that wasn't selected. Right, and now that 3rd person's name is up here and all these tools here have now been assigned to that 3rd person. So now I'm going to go to where the initials are and I'm going to manually insert the 3rd initial. On every page. Okay. And if I need a signature for that 3rd person, I'm going to grab that 3rd person's signature, drag it down there, and I'll drag the date and time as well here. Okay. So if you notice, these 2 are under, it just says date, and this last one says date and time. I can change that by pressing the settings tab and change that to date only and press save. All right. And now I got all 3 people that are supposed to sign set up. Okay. Once you're in this page, you can no longer edit this document. Okay. Once you're here, you cannot delete the names here. You cannot delete the dates. You cannot delete these check marks. Okay. But if there's something you need them to see specifically, for instance, we added in number 9 that we wanted them to include water, right? We can highlight that area to show we want you to realize that we're asking for water. We can also underline that to make it even more predominant, right? So here are those tools that we can use. If we're missing a check mark on something, like we missed here on the service center, we can grab, or service member, we can grab this and just take it to where it needs to be check marked, okay? Now, these are not changes. Those 3 that I just used are not changes. Those 3 that I just used are just highlighting things, right? Or adding something. If there is a change, okay? Let's say your client says to you, hey, you know what? Forget about them cleaning it. It's fine. I'm going to clean it myself because I feel more comfortable if I'm cleaning it, okay? And you want to erase this here, you got to come here to where it says strike through, grab this red line, and then place that red line there and take it off. Now that's a change. So because you added a change, that change needs to have everybody's initials. So there's 1 initial, there's 2 initials, and here is the 3rd initial. Okay, so now all 3 initials are there on the change that you did. Okay, anything that requires a change needs to have everyone's initials on it. Okay. So now that you've gone through this, you're ready to go to get it signed. Now you're just going to click next. Okay. Once you click next, the system's going to notice that you added some things to the contract. So it's going to say, hey, you've added a few things. Are you good with what you added? Do you want to continue? Once you say yes, you can no longer make these changes, right? So I press yes because I want to keep these changes. Now the system's going to show me the same site with the changes that I did, right? Here's the water underline. Here's the crossed out with the initials. Perfect. I'm good. Now I'm going to press next, and it's going to let me review it again. It's going to say, hey, are you sure? This is what they're going to see. Are you happy with this? Right? Yes, I'm happy with it. Click next. And then here it's going to take you back to the email. Okay. You can continue to write whatever email here, or, hey, Mr. or Mr. Client, I made a change on the contract, a mistake that I made, please initial it. Or, hey, I added the change that you wanted here. Please make sure to initial it. Okay. Then once you're done, you press finish. And now the system's going to automatically send the email to your clients for them to sign, okay? So the email that your clients are going to receive is going to look like this. Give it a second. It's going to pop up. All right, here it is. Signing invite, offer for rent, right? And it's going to say, your name has invited your customer's name to sign. Let's get started. All they need to do is click here where it says review and sign. Once they click where it says review and sign, once they click where it says review and sign, it's going to take them to this web page. Okay. And here in this web page, they're going to see their name. They're going to see their name, how it's going to appear on the document. And it's going to have the disclosures that they need to agree to. Okay. So whatever name they change here, they can. And you'll notice that the name down here changes too, okay? If they want to make their actual signature, they can click here and be able to make whatever signature they want. Maybe they have a pen or an iPad and they can do their signature that way, right? They're also going to have to do their initial, right? But let's say this is the one they choose, great. Now they have to agree to the terms. And what this basically says is this format that you see here is going to be your legal signature on this document. So you can you cannot come later on and say, this isn't my signature, this is an electronic signature. No, the system actually picks up the IP address where this is being signed from. So you cannot sign this for your client, okay? The system will know where this document is being electronically signed. So you need to make sure that it's your client who's signing this and not you, okay? I agree to consumer disclosure consent. Now, when you come in, it's gonna give you this page, okay? And then in this page, they click got it. And then very simple, all they need to do is click this start button. Once they click this start button, it'll take them directly where they need to go. They just click on each space and it'll do the initials. It'll do the signature. It'll do the date. And then once they finish, they click next. The system will review the document, make sure everything's done, and then it'll say all fields have been completed. Would you like to complete? They click yes, and then they have completed the session. Okay? Once all the signers have completed signing, you will receive an email showing that they have signed. So I received an email here saying, hey, Albert has signed the document. Okay? Albert Simbaco has signed. So now I know one person signed. When the second person signs, it'll send me another email saying, X person has signed. Now I know the second person has signed. And then it'll send me an email saying, here are your signed documents. Your documents are ready for download. Click here, and then you'll be able to save the document online. The system will save it for you. Okay? And here's the document. Okay, with the signature there. I only have one here because this is only one that I did, but once everybody signs, it'll come with everybody's signature. Okay, at that point, once you have it saved in your computer, you obviously have all the documents from your client already, which they have sent you by email. So now you're going to create a new email. You're going to find the agent's email, okay? Copy it, send it to that client. Your subject is going to be offer for rent, and then put the address of the property, right? Here you're going to write something to the agent. Hello, Mr. Agent. Please find attached an offer for your listing. Let me give you a little bit of explanation for my client. My client is a married couple with 2 children. We went to see your property yesterday and we absolutely loved it. The clients are all in on renting this property for you. Have all the required documentation you are requesting. We would definitely like to hear back from you and the owner as quickly as possible so we can get our association paperwork together and turn that in as quickly as we can. Please let me know if there's any additional information you would like from my client. Whatever you guys want to do. If you want to do a little sob story about your client, oh my God, my client's been looking to rent in this community for years and hasn't been able to, and finally you have come up with one and they are, whatever you want, guys, okay? But write something nice to the agent there, something that'll stick you out of other agents, okay? Don't just write, here's an offer for your property. You know, no, put something that's going to make you stand out and make the agent really want to see your property, okay? And then you're going to attach it, right? You click attach file, here's the offer. You attach that offer, and then you attach all the other documents that your client has sent you. Obviously, you have saved them into your computer. Then you attach all the documents into this one email, and you send it to the agent. And then once you send it to the agent, as I mentioned, follow up is key. You send the agent a message to her phone number, a text message, or you call them, hey, I just sent you an offer for your listing. Please let me know if you received it. Sometimes my property or my emails go to spam, and I want to make sure that you received it. Okay? They'll tell you, yes, I received it. Great. I'm going to go ahead and send it to the owner. All right. And then once they send it to the owner, if the owner agrees upon all the properties, upon all the terms, they're going to send you the lease agreement. And then you got to get that lease agreement signed by your client. Okay. After getting the lease agreement signed, then you can collect the first month deposit from your client, bring it to the office to deposit, and then you go through the association. Okay, the other agent will send you the association documents, or they will give you the number to the association so you can contact the association and have the association email you the application. Okay, then you just follow the steps that the association application says, and you apply for the association with your client. Your client should be the one to do the application. It's going to ask them for the money. It's going to ask them to fill out the application. Do not fill the application out for your client. Your client should be able to apply themselves to the association. Okay. Once the association has received their documentation and the money for the application, they will go ahead and start the application process. And then once that application has been approved, they will contact your client. They will tell your client, you have been approved. Please come in for an interview, or they will send them the approval by email. And then at that point, your client should call you and say, hey, we already have the approval. I'd like to move in. And now you're going to schedule the walkthrough with the other agent. And you're going to say, hey, my client received the approval. They want to move in July 30th. Can we schedule the walkthrough for this time? Once you say yes and they agree upon it, your client needs to get the other 2 months in the form of a cashier's check made out to the owner's name. Okay? That check must be presented the day of the walkthrough. Okay? We must send the completed contract to Janelle, okay, or the office or Janelle or Karina or Kim or Juliana, and let them know that you are closing that rent on July 30th. Because if we're holding escrow, they need to make the checks out for you, and they need to make the check out for the other agent. So you're going to send them an email at least 48 hours prior to that walkthrough, okay, if you can, and let them know, hey, I'm closing on this day. We're holding escrow. Here's the contract. Please make sure to have the checks ready for me. They will send you a confirmation email saying, hey, your checks are ready. You can come pick them up. You can go to Doral, pick up the checks in Doral, and then you can go to the walkthrough with your client, the other agent. Excuse me. And in that walkthrough, you're going to be notating any issues that the property has the day of move-in. The reason you're going to notate those issues is to make sure that your client at the end of the lease period is not affected by any of those issues that were there once he moved in. Okay? Once you've written down all those issues the property has, your client signs it, you make a copy of it by taking pictures of it, and you give it to the listing agent so the listing agent can send it to the owner. That way the owner can sign it and be aware of what problems that property has moving in. Okay, if anything needs to be fixed, they will come up with an agreement to fix whatever needs to be fixed. And then the owner should be able to fix it for the tenant. Okay, once that process is done, you no longer have any reason to be working with the other agent or the owner. You can follow up with the tenant, make sure things are going well, maybe follow up so that you can get referrals from their family, right? But if there is an issue between the tenant and the owner, it is now tenant owner responsibility, tenant landlord responsibility. You do not have to be involved. If you want to be involved, that is up to you, okay? But if you don't want to be involved, just let the tenant know at this point, you're under contract with the landlord and this needs to be resolved between you and the landlord. I cannot resolve this with the other agent because we are not under contract. Okay? So just a tip, it will happen. We all have hearts. We all feel something towards our clients and we all want to help them as much as possible. But you could fall into something legal and you don't want to get into a legal battle between the landlord and the tenants. Okay? So that is how a lease is done from start to finish, guys. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know here on the chat. I'm going to stay on for about another 10, 15 minutes in case you guys have any questions or anything that I did not cover that you want me to let you know. Other than that, that's my lease class for today, guys. I thank you very much for being a part of it today. I hope you guys learned a lot about how a lease is structured and how it all works. If you have any questions, again, I'll be here until 1 o'clock. Thanks, guys.